Thank you very much, William. And once again, I welcome you all to this session, and we are very glad to have you all here. Can I just ask that if you have your, some of the videos are very disruptive, and so if you could help us by turning them off if possible, that would help. Yes, I'm honored to be introducing one of our very own, Dr. Afriye Champon, as the main speaker for this session. Now, he is a senior lecturer in accounting and at the University of Gloucestershire and director of finance in Society Research Institute in the United Kingdom, for short FISRI. And this was established in partnership with the St. James's Place Wealth Management, PLC, a FTSE 100 company with a vision and activities geared towards the creation and dissemination of transformative knowledge and practices in the financial services industry. Now, his teaching and research has been in accounting and finance and decision subjects to students, undergrads, postgraduate students, professionals, and executives, and this has been his passion. Now, he qualified as an ACCA in the year 2003 and became chartered treasurer with the Acts in 2006. He then went on to obtain a master's, an MSc in accounting and finance in 2006. His doctorate in finance, this is where the interest is, developed a novel model for conceptualizing expertise. And what he did, it involved application of unsupervised machine learning algorithms in the evaluation of long-term analyst forecasts. Now, at the University of Gloucestershire, he's delivered and designed models in the Masters in Financial Technology Engineering and Portfolio Management. Elsewhere, outside the university, he has appropriately embedded data science competence into undergraduate courses in forensic accounting and corporate finance. Now, these and many other trailblazing exploits has led him to receiving several teaching awards. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored once again to introduce to you the Dr. Afriye Champon. Doctor, you are welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Duke and William.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, I would like to share my screen now. Maybe let me just do that.
Yes, please.
And then, yeah.
That we can see.
Brilliant, brilliant. So yeah, thank you very much for having me, and it's an honor and a privilege to lead this session today. I want to briefly talk about the main topic. I mean, the elephant in the room, of course, is artificial intelligence, AI. And I have to assume that we are starting from ground zero. So permit me to briefly say we are looking at something that has become part of our vocabulary now. You tend to hear people talking about AI, even though AI has been with us in its various guises for a long time. But obviously, certain events have pushed the whole construct into our ordinary discourse. But in a nutshell, we're talking about systems that process relevant information to help us in various decision-making contexts. I mean, in simple terms, that's what AI constitutes. There could be arguments sometimes about whether we should be using the word AI or artificial intelligence, or whether we should be talking about machine learning, or whether we should probably use the right word, which is data science, and in its various forms. So for the sake of the purists, for the sake of those who probably would be worried about terminologies, I will use those three terms interchangeably for the purposes of our conversation today, because in essence, they all relate to the same phenomenon. When we try to create systems that would help us in our decision-making processes by analyzing data in its various forms. I think it is fair to say that the AI phenomenon is creating a paradigm shift. And by paradigm shift, we're talking about, generational changes to the way we see the world, the way we interact with each other, and the way we interact with our own world as well. And this is no exaggeration, because you and I know that technology has been very transformative to our social, cultural, and political interactions. And in the trail of that, at the back of that, we are having to recognize the fact that we cannot ignore knowledge about the role of systems in our daily lives. In fact, we do so at our own peril. This is because these systems now have fundamentally shifted what constitutes knowledge and who owns knowledge, who has the ability to control access to knowledge. And this knowledge is also impacting on the value that we place on various skills. So friends, all I'm saying is that business as usual, or if you like, the traditional ways of going about our lives, living our lives as professionals, and our attitudes to knowledge and skills have changed. They have shifted. And these shifts that are occurring, obviously, could mean one of two things. For those who are evolving with the system, this paradigm shift constitutes a tremendous opportunity because AI, data science, machine learning, in its true sense, really gives you the power and the ability to access knowledge and do things differently. Do it faster, quicker, do more of it very efficiently with less errors, and in a sense, create competitive advantages for those who are part of this journey. But the opposite is also true. The naysayers, or people who deny the relevance of this phenomenon, probably do so at their own peril. And I'm talking about professionals, institutions, and in a sense, societies. Why are we saying that? We're saying that because, as I said, these changes are real, depending on where you live and work, depending on who you work for and with. AI, machine learning, and data science is creating a huge change. So what does that mean? Effectively, what this means is that if we want to be part of the positive and successful and forward-looking and progressive professionals, institutions, and societies, we have to also change the way we perceive knowledge, skills, and our attitude towards it. I've said a lot, but probably I just need to begin to touch on what it actually is, or if you like, what are the forms of AI, machine learning, and data science that should be relevant to those who want to, commence this journey. Being very careful so that I don't just talk to myself, I'll break this whole thing, this whole phenomenon down to 4 different things. So machine learning, or AI, has basic underpinnings. There are some basic vocabulary, basic skills, if you like, the framework within which to work that you have to be familiar with. And this involves various forms of software. There are alternatives. So there are some very basic competence or choices that everybody who wants to begin this journey should become familiar with. By that, what we're saying is before you even become familiar, before anything makes sense to you, this is a domain, this is a technical domain. You would need to be introduced to the fundamentals. So there is a ground level, a level 1, whereby you get introduced to what AI is, what really spurs you on, or what really defines success tends to be a very good foundation, like everything else. And you need a lot of motivation. I'm not saying it's not doable. You need to somehow have a sight of what success looks like what you can do. And when you have that overview, and when you have those basic level competences, then everything begins to make sense to you. Beyond that basic level, there are 3, if you like, subsets of machine learning, AI, or data science skills that you need to develop. It will be best if you go through the journey in this layered and structured manner, because the levels of complexity will increase beyond the basic level. So the first set of AI knowledge, skills, and competence that you will become familiar with is something that tends to be called machine learning algorithms. In essence, these are, systems way of using concepts of space and distance to solve virtually all problems. Okay, I'm not exaggerating here. So yeah, in the mind, the virtual mind of the system, there is a space, and everything occupies space, and the software would use various concepts or measurements of distance between space to solve 2 basic problems. And most of the problems that you will encounter or you will apply AI to solve tend to revolve around various forms of predictions and classifications. Again, I'm trying to simplify it today. And all I'm saying is you try to pick some inputs, and these inputs would then be used to generate other outputs. And these outputs tend to be various forms of predictions, like moving from one space to the other, or grouping things. And this is no exaggeration. The concepts of, prediction and classification are at the heart of various problem-solving tasks. And there are many of them. There are many beautiful machine learning algorithms, some of which you may be familiar with in your previous studies. If I said something like forecasting, that would make sense. And there are many different ways that we can forecast, and very technical forecasting techniques, time series, and all that. They all come under the predictive algorithms. And then you have the classification. So it is very good that you would get support through using the basic competence that you acquire to begin playing with the different forms of machine learning algorithms. It might interest you to note that depending on the domain that you have been familiar with, depending on your professional background, almost more than 80% of the problems that you will encounter in your work could be accomplished using a form of a machine learning algorithm. And the machine can do these things far, far better. It can do many, many more of them. It can do them at times that you probably wouldn't enjoy doing. So machine learning is great. It builds on the basic competence to begin to explore AI in your work domain. But beyond that, we begin to talk about deep learning. Deep learning are unique forms of algorithms, or if you like, the system's way of thinking that is almost human-like. So deep learning, another word that you probably will hear people use when they talk about deep learning is neural networks. Oh, neural networks are not new. They are nothing new. They've been here since the 1940s. But the breakthrough came sometime in the 90s when some researchers were able to kind of use a form of programming, neural networks. Again, I'm trying not to use the technical words, but it's a form of optimization, a very different way, a classy way of optimizing, problem solving that is designed around the way the human neurons work, neurons in our system. So deep learning algorithms are more human-like, and that's where the debate comes. This is where the word intelligence really comes into the fore, because deep learning algorithms are able to perform tasks that are almost like human beings. And when you combine them at scale, when you're able to design them and combine them at a very high level, you begin to encounter things that are in our conversations now. So you probably have heard about ChatGPT and various forms of generative AI. These are forms of deep learning algorithms. There is another level of evolution that people are talking about in terms of AI, but there is only little evidence that we are probably nearing that. And this is where we're talking about general purpose AI. The consensus is that we are not there yet. So in a nutshell, friends, what I'm saying is that these systems constitute a paradigm shift. They are changing the foundation of all knowledge. And we're not just talking about business or accounting or finance. We're talking about even forms of art and music and going to space. Every domain somehow that is forward-looking, people are benefiting from the transformative benefits of AI. So if you become interested in going on this journey, that will be the best way to go. And why don't you start thinking about it now? Because in and around us in society, big data is now a phenomenon. Data that results from all our interactions that are being enhanced by the use of technology, are creating digital footprints. So in our various professions, we are not only needing to understand structured data which was very quantitative and collected by systems of old, are becoming obsolete now, because data is everywhere. Data is not just quantitative, data is pictorial, data is unstructured, data is on social media, data is everywhere. So data now constitutes a very important resource for decision-making. And therefore, for individuals, organizations, institutions, societies, if we want to have competitive advantage, we should be able to have the systems that enable us to obtain insight, I mean, understanding of the various forms of data. Unfortunately, our previous systems, however powerful they were or however useful they were, are not able to process these huge data sets, most of which are unstructured. So for example, Excel is beautiful. I love Excel. I used to love Excel, and I thought Excel could do everything, and I was able to vouch for that. But Excel has its limits. Excel does not have the ability to process the types of data that we need to access now in many domains. So even though the computing power is there, even though we are holding these huge data sets, there is a gap. There are barriers to being able to understand and play with this data. And the huge hindrance there doesn't tend to be the availability of the data or the cost of accessing the data. It is known that the most potent hindrance is talent, is the skills, the ability to use the systems that exist. Because most of the software that would enable you to apply or deploy AI are open source. Would you believe it? You don't have to pay huge sums of monies to have access to the huge resources that come with Python. It's all free, it's open source. However, it takes time and effort to become familiar with it. It costs money. I mean, the BCG Consulting Group estimates, for example, that the 10, 20, 70 rule is true. And by that, what they mean is the algorithms, getting access to AI doesn't cost much. If you take 100% of your budget, 10% of your budget, that will enable you to obtain competitive advantage from AI. Only 10% of your cost will be spent on paying for someone to develop the algorithms for you. 20% of your budget will revolve around buying the systems, maybe better capacity in terms of computer equipment and all that. Only 20% of your budget will go there, right? 70% of your budget, if you want to position yourself or your organization at a competitive edge within the next 5 years, 70% of your cost must be spent on people and processes that will embed AI into your organization's ecosystem. So skill or talent is what is in short supply. Everybody is talking about AI, but only few people are putting the money where it really matters. So what does this mean? All we're saying is every professional, every organization, every institution now that is involved in some form of designing and deploying solutions, executing cutting-edge, efficient solutions, will be involved in one of these tasks that I have on the slide here. You may be checking consistency or compliance. You may be trying to look ahead, predict. You may want to analyze and understand the underpinning factors that create either positive or negative outcomes. You may want to group and classify. If you're involved in any of this, in the application of knowledge, then it will be a missed opportunity if you're not deploying AI. Maybe let me say it differently. In about 5 years' time, we may be talking about an existential outcome, right? We may be talking about either growing or becoming a dinosaur, either in your career or in your industry, because there is a rush to having access and this knowledge and this competence, and speed is of the essence. And we can talk about first mover advantage and all of that. So it is consequential, but there are positive benefits there to be derived. So if you use the word expertise now, or being an expert, it will be probably wrong, if I may say, if you extricate any form of expertise from AI capability. Because there is uncertainty that is going around every type of knowledge, every type of expertise, every type of skill is not immune from the intrusion of AI. All I'm saying is, for everything that human beings have been able to invent and do, AI seems to be able to do it, replicate it very quickly. So the barriers of entries are now really low. I mean, armed with the right skills, people are designing business models that are going to really be a threat if we are not in the know. So knowledge structures are becoming very porous. Performance levels are going through the roof when people have adopted AI, and no domain is immune. It is therefore probably true to say that professional services firms for the future will be different. And it's probably true that everybody who is involved in this ecosystem needs a good dose of AI competence. So every employee, I'm not sure about who to exempt here, private sector, public sector, banking, law tech, accounting tech, fintech, wealth tech. There is tech being added to every form of professional services that we provide. If we are investors, if we are regulators, because the people we work with and for are going to adopt AI, and we will become dinosaurs if we cannot be part of that conversation, if we don't have the cultural artifacts, if we cannot play the game using the new language, the new kid on the block, that will be very consequential. We may be business leaders. I mean, we're not saying everybody should be a data scientist, but we need a good understanding of what people are going to require of us, even if we are just, I mean, leaders who are managing others who work on our behalf. If we are educators, that is even, there's even more need for educators to adopt AI, because teachers and lecturers who are AI competent, I mean, are doing magic and wonders. Students should request AI competence from their educators, because that is the language for the future. I've said a lot, but let me become a bit more practical now. So what I've said so far is you're probably looking at 3 levels of competence. What we are thinking about with Duke Williams is to begin this program that will tackle those 3 levels to help people on this journey. We envisage that the training to make you familiar with each of these levels would take about 3 days, 3 full days. And when I say training, it's probably going to sound very different from maybe what people have in mind. I'm talking about learning by doing. It doesn't mean that the theory wouldn't be there. In the domains of business, accounting, and finance, everything that we will do will be driven by theory, but done with machine learning and AI at the appropriate level. After the 3-day in-person, face-to-face sessions, we will be running 3 online sessions to support our learners. We will call them partners because they are on a journey learning with us. We envisage that each level would take about 3 months for our learners to become familiar with the learning outcomes that we would deliver at that level. I'm now going to talk about myself a bit and what AI has done for me. So as you probably heard, I was a chartered accountant. I was a chartered treasurer. I've been in education for a long time, more than 20 years now in the UK. I have taught almost every one of the ACCA papers, apart from the old P6, which I didn't enjoy. Didn't enjoy tax, but apart from that, I've done it. Spent many years teaching with William in the UK. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I've been marking exams with Duke for one of the professional bodies for more than 17 years now. So I've been doing this for a very long time. But my life changed sometime in the year 2013. That's when my journey with AI began. And friends, it has been one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Partly because I met a man who also changed my life. A man, I should be careful what I say there. My mentor, probably some of you would know him, Professor Bob Ryan, used to be the chief examiner for the ACCA in the noughties. So in the noughties, I mean in the 90s. And I met Professor Bob Ryan, and he was my PhD supervisor. And it was his forward-looking advice that said to me in the year 2013 that this is going to be huge. Charles, you have a long working life ahead of you. Why don't you begin? It wasn't fashionable then, but I'm glad I started because it has changed everything that I do. Every module I teach, every consultancy that I'm involved in, every interaction I have with people in education, in research, PhD supervision, everything has been transformed. AI hasn't made me any less of an accountant or finance professional or teacher or researcher. In fact, it has made me a better one as such. So it's a pleasure. I'm just going to show you. I think it will be best if I demonstrate the things that I'm talking about. It will be good if I give you a quick demonstration of what we are talking about. Okay.
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be very good.
Yeah, in fact, I remember when I was a student, and I learned about portfolio theory. Sorry if this will sound like something new to you. I would not make it technical. I'm not intending to teach you the topic here, but I just want to give you an illustration and tell you about how this has changed for me. When I was a student and I learned portfolio theory, my lecturer was writing on the board. We had to write equations, and there were a few caveats that were given. And the caveat was that this will involve a lot of calculations. So get your calculators ready. But we can only do a very minimized form of portfolio theory. We can only do something called a 2-asset portfolio construction problem. And the reason given was that the formulae involved, the formulas, if I use that version of the English word, I prefer to say formulae. The formulae involved are very complicated, especially if you have anything more than 2, because it will escalate quickly, and we don't want to do that. Anyway, so we did 2-asset portfolio. I did my ACCA. I used to teach portfolio theory, and the most assets that you would ever put into a portfolio in class would be 3 assets. But even there, you'll be losing, the attention of your students because it's too many calculations involved. The other thing is, we never taught the real essence of portfolio theory, because in practice, portfolios are huge. Portfolios would, according to research, have a minimum of 12 to 17 tends to be. And if you're even talking about a fund in practice, you're talking about 50 to 100 assets in a portfolio. What are we talking about here, friends? What we're talking about is you're trying to make choices on the things to buy and keep so that you can maximize your returns and minimize your risk. And the thing is, in finance theory, you learn a lot about that diversification and an efficient portfolio, efficient frontier. All of that comes down to the point that you need to optimize the problem. You need to somehow try and get the highest return for the lowest amount of risk. It is very difficult to teach this without doing this with real life data. And if you don't have the ability to see what is happening, it becomes very theoretical. What then happens is that you can learn portfolio theory, in class, but have no idea of what actually happens in practice. Well, how about if over a short period of time, you are able to use real life market data? So we're talking about the truth, what is actually happening. And if you can have the choice of creating real portfolios using real companies and seeing the results. How about if you're able to simulate what you're doing to change the things that go in and out and see the impact that will have on your decision? Well, for me, this is where Python has changed my life. So everything I teach now, whether it's forensic accounting, whether it's financial engineering, derivatives, it has to be real. And you can see here an example. Just watch me here. I'm not going to be talking about what is happening, but simply saying that these codes are ready-made, they are free, they are available, and all I would do in a practical session is to give you the fundamentals so that when we get to this conversation, everything here begins to make sense to you. In effect, we are switching on the Python software and we are accessing a lot of algorithms that have been prepared and tested for portfolio construction. Okay, so I'm just going to click this tiny thing here, and you see an asterisk there that is saying that my computer is processing that instruction. In no time, that asterisk will disappear. A number comes up there. It means the computer is okay. It's effected that instruction. Now what I'm going to do is I want to create a 5-asset portfolio. Remember I said 2 was very difficult, and sometimes teachers would take a week to really teach all of this, okay? Because you have to teach how to calculate the returns, how to calculate the standard deviation, how to calculate the covariance matrix in the table, and all that. Let's put that to the side. So, but here I have 5 real companies. I think you may probably be able to identify them. Meta, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Apple. And I'm going to collect the data for these 5 companies from the 1st of January 2018 to 2 days ago, right? So that huge amount of data, I'm just going to collect that. You see, bang, the number went up to 2. That means the system has already gone and collected all of that data free of charge, okay? And I'm going to check to see if that is indeed the case. Have I got the data? Yes, I've got it. I'm just going to process it by adding them together. And I'm going to pick one column, which is the closing prices, because that's the data I need to get this job done. Okay, so I'm just confirming here. You can see the system is saying I've got it. I've got it from 2018 to 2 days ago.
To this guy.
I need to pre-process this data by calculating returns, but I just want to visualize it. That is one of the most powerful things that AI does, right? It gives you the ability to see what is going on. So I've calculated the returns, and I can see how the returns are playing around over the years. I'll then go on and create a table of my returns because I need that. I get the mean return and I get my standard deviation and I create my covariance matrix. This is all application, complex application of finance theory. You can see that has been done. And I'm doing this for over 5,000 data sets, right? That's phenomenal, isn't it? I'm just quickly going to create a portfolio. I'm not going to say much here. All I'm saying is the system is going to check to see if I had these 5 companies as alternatives to invest in, how should I go about deploying my money to try and get the highest return whilst I minimize my losses. Okay, so I'm getting the system to simulate that data, and it's done the simulation. I wanted to pick the best of the outcomes and showed me that in another diagram here. And for the finance savvy people, what I'm doing here is I'm plotting the risk-adjusted returns, a Sharpe ratio for these 5 equities, so that I can see for the 2,000 simulations that the system did, how are my annualized returns coming out, and how about my standard deviation or my volatility, right? So anything on this left vertical axis is maximizing my return, and anything on these horizontal axes are increasing my volatility. I don't want that. I want to increase my return and minimize my volatility at the same time. I'm trying to cheat nature, right? It's not possible. But the system will be able to, remember I mentioned the concept of space and distance. So the system is going to optimize and it's going to pick each of these points here. It's going to measure the one that maximizes my return per unit of risk. And it does that quickly by telling me this is one of the points out of the 2,000. This point here is somewhere in this table. And that at that point, this is how I should kind of distribute, apportion my investment in and amongst the 5, companies. So it's giving me, if you like, proportions to maximize my risk adjustment. I probably want to be a bit more clearer. So I want to print out an output and say, so if I had 100 cedis or 100 pounds, and I follow this instruction that the system has given me by using the data from 2018 to 2023, data which consists of about 1,369 days, if I started the investment with 100 pounds, 100 cedis, $100, and I apportioned my money according to the instruction given, my ending value would have been 343, which is a return of about 243%. This is just, as you can see, I'm running through this very quickly. And you can see the power of AI here, because AI, in fact, is increasing my speed. It's enabling me to access skills or understanding that probably I don't really understand. I mean, this is a combination of a wealth of portfolio theory. That has become available to me in about 10 minutes. I'm able to see results. And I could change that very quickly. I'm just going to finish up now. I could change all of that conversation very quickly by just hashing that symbol there. These were equities. I could do the same thing for cryptocurrencies. Again, in 2 minutes, I'll be able to check for these 5 cryptos, what would happen. Very rapidly, I can create a very efficient portfolio by looking at different types of assets, shares, bonds, currencies, cryptos. I can check, and that could help me make the best decision. So, friends, it is not an illusion. When we hear about AI and data science and artificial intelligence, it's not, we are not dreaming, it's happening now. And we invite you to join us on that journey. Thank you very much. I'll stop here, William, and revert back to you.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you so much. It's quite interesting. I'm not AI person. I don't understand anything about AI, but to be honest with you, it's quite interesting, and it makes me to imagine what one who has the wealth of knowledge in AI is able to do in this dispensation. In a moment, we will allow participants to be able to ask questions if you have. I've seen that people, if you want to ask questions, please put your hand up, and in accordance with how you've raised your hand, we'll be allowing you to put across questions. And I have Nuha, but in a moment, just in a moment, I realized that data is open source, and when I have mastered this AI, I could be on my way to becoming an expert, and even to become a consultant and a knowledge worker. I'm just mentioning a couple of things that you have said, and I thought it was quite interesting. You also gave us the 10%, 20%, and the 70%. I think for us, we lie in the 70% where it is the skill. Because it's as though the this thing is there, the technology is there. Everyone is talking about AI. To be honest with you, everywhere you go, social media, everywhere, we're talking about AI. But it's seeming like we are not understanding the concept and what it is all about. What it gives some element of fright. Oh, AI is coming, machines will take over, and so on and so forth. And thank you so much for giving us enlightenment, and even the possibility that we can join a program that will build our knowledge capacity to be among what you said. You said be one of the few to have a first mover advantage. Well, it's all about talk now. But when it comes to those who can do it, we barely have people who have the skill, the competence, the capacity to be able to spearhead the AI, especially in this part of the world, the developing country. Even in Europe, America, AI is just a matter of talk when you come to people who must do it. Most professionals are either running away from it, or they think that it won't be as severe as evidence is pointing to. Now, in the next 35 minutes, I have some few questions with me, but let me allow Nuha to begin to put question across so that our consultant, Doc, will be able to explain. And I think Adam is on the call as well. Duke is on the call, myself, whatever the question is, and appropriately we will help to answer. So Nuha, please, you can ask your question, then followed by Gideon. Hopefully, Doc will answer the two, and we'll have other people who will ask questions. So let's go.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Williams. Doctor, thank you for this beautiful platform, inviting us in this beautiful platform. I have a question that I want to ask. Is in your deliberation, you spoke about AI has covered almost all the professional areas, and then we as the accountant, which areas do you think we are going to be specified in terms of gaining knowledge in the AI?
Right. So now, we're talking about, yes, accounting.
All right.
You're talking about the accounting domain. Well, so I think the simplest answer to that question is everything that you've ever used, Excel or any kind of spreadsheet software for, AI can automate it and do it faster, quicker, and probably better. I'm saying that because once you have that data, you see the role of the accountant is changing very rapidly, or let's say has changed considerably. If you are the accountant who have been perceiving of your role as kind of a bean counter, if you're only there to process the data, then I can assure you that that role is going to become obsolete very, very rapidly. Your role in the future, or probably you've started experiencing it, will become analyzing data, making sense out of the data. So even if you were using an accounting software, I mean, AI is going to replace most of those kind of clunky systems, because AI will be able to collect the data and process it. Your role will rapidly become helping people make decisions with that data. And that's where the analysis will come in. So it is a paradigm shift, because data input or processing is no longer better done by a human being. AI will replace data input and processing. The human beings will have to use intuition and judgment to help decision making. So I don't know if I've answered your question, Nahu. The idea is...
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
You did.
Now let's go to Gideon. Then I'll read a few questions that we have on the chat. If you want, you can use the chat box to type in your question. But Gideon, please, you can take the floor.
Okay, please. Thank you so much, Mr. William.
You are welcome.
Please, I really enjoyed the presentation. I really love it. And then my question, I think I have to merge it because of time. I'm really interested in how you presented the AI. Myself, like the way Mr. William is saying, we have been hearing of the AI on the social media. We don't know what it's all about. We are wondering who would maybe perhaps explain or give us the main concepts of this AI. But then when I saw the opportunity on the platform, I said, no, let me register and know more about this AI. You made mention of as in like going through this class or this training with us for 3 days. I want to know if maybe probably tomorrow or the next day we can continue. And then I wanted to also know, is the AI only limited to the corporate institution? How about maybe perhaps you have your own business, you want to use the AI for it, to manage it and to grow it? How do you go about it? Is it only limited to the corporates or maybe huge companies to maybe manage it or to administrate it? That is my question.
Very interesting question. So, Doc, I want to learn AI. I want to know AI. I don't want to be a theory person. I want to be a master in it. What do I do? You mentioned 3 days. Is that all? And then is it limited to only corporate or even owning your own business and several other things? Please, you can take the floor, Doc.
Yeah, so the first one, yeah, the 3 days is for the level 1. We're planning together with the Williams to commence periodic AI training programs. I mean, we are calling it business partnership because, like I said, we think once you've understood the basics, you would like to continue. So every 3 months, we expect, please expect that we'll be coming to you, telling you that the training event is going to take place. When it takes place, it will be 3 days in person, and it will span over 3 months. Thereafter, we will have opportunities to catch up on 3 separate occasions to see how you're faring in your learning. So we've got that plan. In terms of whether this is just for corporate, no, not at all. AI, or if you like, the machine learning skills are for everyone. In fact, in the part of the world where I am, AI is creating business opportunities for people who are starting their own consultancies, people who are starting their online e-commerce business. And the barriers for entry are getting low. If you have the right competence and the right skill, you can create competition for most professional services businesses. So no, it's not for just big businesses. It is for everyone. I mean, if I'm allowed to say it that way. William, did I answer the question well? You're muted, Willie. You're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Gideon and several of you who will be probably wanting to know that. So when I want to go on the AI journey, is it only 3 days, or can I do it online, or can I just get a place where they probably have put something together without any human interactivity? So in discussion with Doc, we have realized that one of the main weaknesses that most people have when they start the AI journey is that they probably have everything online. They don't have the face-to-face session. They don't have people to hold their hand. So in discussion, it has become evident that for somebody to begin the process and to gain competency in AI, they must at least be thinking of 3 levels. They must be thinking of 3 levels. And so let's say level 1, which is covering the basics. I don't know, I am not AI person, but let's say the basics and the machine learning. Then you go to an intermediary level. You would have developed not only the background knowledge, the fantastic understanding, but you have now begun to use it practically. And then probably at the 3rd level, you will be an expert, isn't it? You are gaining expertise and so on. So largely, when one wants to go on the AI journey, they must be about thinking of a year's program where level 1 is about 3 days in person or face-to-face. And then followed by 3 follow-up online sessions where you are putting the thing into practice. And after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you have set another dimension of the whole program. Then you come again. So we have 3 days and then 3 follow-up sessions that will be online. Ordinarily, we estimate that level 1 alone should take you about 3 months. And we don't want you to rush through the process. We want you to be comfortable, we want you to go through calmly and become an expert. Now, you can then go on to the level 2, which will also be about 3 days and then 3 follow-up sessions. But at this time, you would have gained the competencies and you would have probably be able to use it severally in organization and even to build a big portfolio for yourself. But then we will also recommend that you go to the part 3, where now you can confidently be an expert. You can be a knowledge worker, you can be a consultant, and so on and so forth. So we hold your hand through the process. I may be probably speculating, but I think Doc will know it better. It must be about 9 months to 1 year journey of gaining competency and being among the few, what Doc referred to as the first, among those who have first mover advantage. It must be about that in your mind, that level 1, level 2, and level 3. And level 3 is even more bulky, probably 4 days with 3 follow-up sessions. So I hope, Gideon, it gives you some calmness, because otherwise you panic. And panic that I want to go for a 3 days program, I become an AI expert. It does not work that way. And when people promise you that 3 days you become an AI expert, It is just deception and frustration. It frustrates you because you get to realize that the capacity you need to build at each level even takes 3 months ordinarily. But better still, it takes a long time for you to gain the momentum, practicality, and relevance. It takes more time. And Gideon, I hope that is fine. I'm using you as a reference, but I think for all of us on the platform, I hope that is fine.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Willie, what you've said is nice. I just want to say that
yes, please.
you know, there is this common saying that the first cut is the deepest, and
yes,
I can assure you. I mean, this is what I do every day of the week now. I see people who are very enthusiastic, and sometimes people think there are shortcuts. I would not lie to anybody. There are no shortcuts when it comes to this. I mean, I said I've done this for 10 years now. I am still learning. Okay, but the thing is, if you don't get the help at the start, you will not get it right. There is no shortcut. If you don't get somebody who really knows how to help you, you will fall by the roadside. And when you give up after your first attempt, you tend not to come back to it. So it's very important that you get good help to start. You get the motivation, you get the excitement, you get somebody to hold your hand, and then the journey becomes smoother. It's challenging, but it's doable.
Thank you, Doc. And I think it makes it clear. Primus, please, do you have a question? All right. Now, I have a question here before we go on to further question. DD, and it looks very interesting. Please, what is the level of accuracy for AI predictions? That is one question on the chat. Then let me go. What would you recommend as the learning path for someone from a finance background? And how soon can one gain appreciable competence? I think we looked at that one. And then, yes, again, Didion, what are the weaknesses in AI? And then, Abdul Gafaru, what will be the cost for this program?
Okay.
I hope we can bring it here, then we'll continue. Yes.
Okay. So let's start with the first
please.
one. The first one was about
level
the accuracy. Well,
yes.
you see, the thing is, the system is as accurate as the models that it automates. Okay, so the system is not doing anything that the models did not ask it to do. So maybe the question generally is rather how accurate are our predictions about the future. And I think that came up in one of my slides when I had irreducible uncertainty. I don't know if you remember, that was lurking in the background. The friends, let us say Dick Williams has not given you investment advice in the session that we have done today. We didn't purport to say that you can use the knowledge that I shared in my illustration as the basis of actual trading or investments. Please take that as a caveat. That's a disclaimer. You do so at your own peril. What we know, though, is that there are many other algorithms. So if we're talking about a whole session on portfolio management, I can assure you that we will do a lot of back testing, so something called back testing. So we will use all the cutting edge knowledge and theory to build models and test them with real life data for you to see which one works when and how. But from my experience as a researcher and a practitioner, what I can say is that systems tend to outperform intuitive predictions. But the the fact is that there is always going to be uncertainty. Nobody can ever be certain. There will always be errors. But if you are able to combine the right algorithms, then you increase the chances that your predictions will be more often correct than wrong. So all you can do is manage the uncertainty. You cannot remove it. If anybody promises you that AI removes uncertainty, again, that's a lie. You have to manage it. So they are pretty much, there are certain things. Okay, I don't want to turn this into a lecture, but depending on the system that you are applying the algorithm for, you can have 100% accuracy if you're dealing with physical systems. So now we probably have to be very careful we don't straddle into quantum physics. But if you're dealing with anything that has physical essence, then you can model it. I mean, there's a way to model physical systems for them to be exact. However, as you move along through to biological systems, to social systems, to cultural systems, when you have human beings and minds and social cognition, markets and financial instruments are just going to depict choices that people have made in their minds, some of which we don't know. So when you're dealing with social constructs and social systems, one of which is a market, then you're having to accept a higher degree of error. But even there, the systems are able to help you model to see the degree of certainty that you are willing to tolerate. So again, that's a whole module on its own. We can have a whole module on predictive analytics using AI, but that will be for another day.
Okay. Yes, thank you very, very much. I have few hands raised, so I think I'll come to the hands raised, then we will deal with the. Let me see the first person. Is it Nandom Mashood? Please, you can take the floor.
To Mr. Williams.
You can unmute. Yes, please.
I want to find out, in trying to allay the fears of employees, one Chinese tech person stated that IA is coming to take stupid, lazy, and unintelligent jobs and create intelligent jobs for those who are wise. So I want to know from Doc, what are those stupid, lazy, and unintelligent jobs? And then the intelligent jobs that the man referred to.
That's right. Okay.
Okay.
Is that all?
That's all, sir.
Doc, fantastic. Thank you very much. Doc, allow me to take the second one. Then you add, you noted there, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
So you want to know the intelligent one so that you go there before they come and take you out or something.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
So if the job I'm doing,
let me leave out. Let me leave
I
that
can
one.
move away from it.
Fantastic. Doc will answer you. Paxi Negro, please, you can go with your question so that you add. I want to know. I'm very interested in that question. Paxi, please, you can unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, please. My question is, will artificial intelligence in one way or the other need human effort, or is 100% machine? And then the second one has to do with, would there be any form of certification at the end of this program? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Doc, please, you noted that one, isn't it? Will there be certification? I want to do artificial intelligence and I've done the level 1. Would there be certification? And also, there's a question that is saying, can I use it to claim CDP points? So when you are addressing that one, would there be certification? And those who have chatted, they're asking that, can I use it to claim CPD points? And then we have Stephanie. Please, you can unmute so that we'll deal with all the questions. Fantastic questions. Stephanie, please.
Yes, please, you did mention earlier concerning those with accounting and finance background that a time will come, basically their job is to analyze data and interpret them for management to make decisions. Are you recommending that we rather move towards data analytics? That's my question.
Look, I think the consensus is that I don't want to be unemployed and I don't want to be overtaken by AI. So what do you recommend? Do I move into data analytics and so on? And what would the future accountant be mindful? I mean, you want to be careful that you don't do so many things that will be obsolete not long from now. So, Doc, in addition, let me put across this question so you can deal with. One question: if I'm not an expert in IT, can I still study or can I still do AI and become an expert? I don't have IT background. I know minimum IT, like myself, like I'm speaking for I know minimum IT and so on. And so it frightens me to think of AI and these machine things. Can I still pursue the AI program and become an expert? So, Doc, we allow you to take the floor.
Okay, I'll do my best. I think a lot of the questions revolve around what are the threats and what are the opportunities. So yeah, and that I wouldn't use the same phrases that the Chinese boss used. Somebody said that, I mean, the Chinese boss had said something to the effect of stupid jobs will disappear and wise and all that. But there is an element of truth in the message that comes out of that conversation. Because you see, like I said, we have to admit as human beings that there are certain things that we don't enjoy doing. There are certain things that we would rather do less of. And our brains are made in such a way that there is a limit to which we can take certain things. So for example, if you have to recognize, if all that you do at your job is to recognize things, like, and this could be pictures. I mean, you could be a security guard. Let me use that simple example. You could be employed as a watchman. I remember watchmen who sits there and checks to see, is this William? Okay, go in. Yes. Is this Duke? Okay, go in.
Go in.
Is this Charles? So if your work entails basic recognition of patterns, then you are at risk. You are at risk because it costs far less to employ AI to do any type of a job that entails recognition. And the AI can do it far better at odd times, almost forever. It will not get tired. It would make less mistakes. It will not have any favorites like, oh, this person looks like. No. Well, you see, so there are jobs that entail recognition of patterns, adding, subtracting, multiplying, designing things with data. Those kind of jobs that can be done using instructions or algorithms where there is a process, a set process. You start from here, you go there, you do things that involve repetitions. If you're involved in any of those kind of tasks, then what we are saying is learn how to use AI, because on top of all jobs that involve routine, there are opportunities for intuitive expertise, something that only human beings can do. Machines don't have social understanding. Machines don't have common sense. Machines don't have emotions. machines cannot adapt to cultural norms and things like that. So the core of your job could be done by a machine. On top of that, you then add your human insights, something that cannot be automated. So I believe what that Chinese manager was saying is that if all you want to do is to do the basic repetitive stuff, then I better get rid of you. I could get rid of 100 of you doing that, replace them with a machine, and only have 2 people doing the top level thinking, the people who are willing to use their human intuition. So what I would say is that AI is only a threat to people who either ignore it or deny it and don't learn. If you don't learn to use it, I mean, we're talking about top surgeons. I mean, doctors are learning to use AI because there are certain angles and depth of cutting the human being that requires nano level precision that the human hand and eye cannot do, but the machine can do. So you see, when it gets to these things, you're only arguing against a fact. And in no time, your employer would say, look at what the machine can do. It is rather more efficient for me to replace you because the human beings are going to make mistakes and errors. So to our friend who said, should I go into data analysis? Maybe I gave a very vague description of this. I still call myself an accountant. I still call myself a finance expert. I still call myself a researcher. I call myself a father. I mean, the things I do haven't changed, but the way I do them have changed. So being a data analyst or a data scientist would not make you a less of an accountant, but it would make you a different type of an accountant. I have undergraduate students, by the way. Oh, it says we have only 5 minutes left. Anyway,
yes,
William,
please.
are we safe?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, we are safe. We are fine.
Yeah. So I have trained accountants who have gone into industry and have come back saying, oh, thank you very much for doing this with me 3 years ago, because I'm now inhabiting spaces in my organization that nobody can occupy, because
That's right.
I am an accountant, but I'm able to help my IT team do things that they didn't understand. Do you get the idea? So
yes,
the point is, data science is an add-on. There could be people who would say, okay, I don't have any profession, I want to start learning this from scratch. Yes, they can, but they wouldn't be as good as you are if you already have another profession, because whatever you know how to do, AI can help you do it better, is what we're saying. So if it doesn't matter, you don't need an IT qualification. I didn't have any IT qualification. William knows this.
okay.
I mean,
okay.
accounting, finance, and then we're there. Would we get any certification, and are there CPD points? Yes. Yes. The answer to that is yes. We have a form of certification. We know the training will qualify for CPD. We are exploring other forms of qualifications that would be available as well.
Thank you very much.
I think I've answered the questions. Yes.
Yeah, I think you did. You did. I'll come to the chat in a moment. One is saying, I'm interested in studying AI. How soon do you intend to start the program?
We are thinking the earliest we are thinking is August, September this year, but it all depends on demand. And when I say August, September, I'm talking about the open to the public training. If there are institutions that would want to have a conversation with us for forms of bespoke training, we can customize that. But the open to public training sessions will begin towards the end of August, early September-ish.
Thank you very much. And I think what I'll add is that after the program, we'll share this video. There will be a link for those who are interested in exploring the possibility of partaking in the first level AI. Then they can register so that when the brochures are ready, which is by the end of this month, they'll get all the information, all the details, and we'll guide them through the process like we have done at Duke Williams. So if you are interested to be a part of those who are going to do the AI and to build their capacity as experts in data management or data analysis, we'll give you a link to register your interest. There is a question here, I think. What will be the cost for this program? I'll come to it in a moment. I want to ask another question. Considering the equity you analyzed, most of the data are probably historical. Are you sure such assertion can help make informed decisions based on results for proper investment decision without other future projections and plans from the various institutions? I think you have answered that one. Is AI a computer application?
Yes.
Does DW have centers in Kumasi and Techima, and how much would the basic level costs? I think the cost is coming time and time again. And Gideon, please, are we going to receive any certificate for participation after the 9 months to 12 months training? I think that one, we've mentioned that one, but you can read. It's learning data analytics an aspect of AI? I'm learning data analytics. Is it an aspect of AI? Then Vanessa said that, where is the difference between data science and data analytics?
Yeah, okay, so terminology is there. Again, you just have to be a bit careful. So when you say data analytics, you're normally looking at just somebody who's just using the system and is only interested in what comes out of it. That person is not going any deeper to learn how to create or, if you like, modify the system. They are trying to just be, if you like, a high-end user. Data science goes a bit deeper than that. Data science takes you to understanding how the whole system works in context, so that you have a broader understanding and the ability to design. The word design is different from develop in this domain. So I'm not talking about developer being a coder who will be, if you like, creating a whole program, but data science means that you will be able to understand when things work and when they don't work, the limits of it and the application of it. Analytics is really just at the interpretive end, where you're not really involved in the collection and the processing of the data, but you just want to be able to analyze the outputs. But I mean, for me, we are looking at the whole branch, right? We're looking at the whole thing. So we are not doing surface level data analytics. We want to show people how to go all the way from the basics to the point where they can apply it.
All right. So, look, thank you, because I think one important question that is asked more than once, twice, and so on. Okay, we are very much interested. But what will be the cost estimates? And can international students register and be able to study from their country? And I think that in costings, I'll hold that in costings, Doc has mentioned that there are different packages because we are working with institutions that want it to be organized for their team. But then when it comes to individuals who are going to probably be sponsored to be part of a cohort of AI students, then there is that element of varied cost implication. However, management is working hard to be able to find sustained cost-reducing measures, and it is probably not going to be less than 5,000 Ghana cedis per each level at the moment. So a potential student who wants to start will probably be looking at the basic level of something in the region of 5,000 minimum, probably no more than 7,000. And that probably will be about the best value that the Ghanaian market can have when we have to bring team of experts for 3 days face-to-face session and then to give you support online, follow-on support and so on. And the consultants headed by our dear brother and friend will probably be able to help us to be able to agree on fees that range between 5,000 to 7,000 per level. That is the best offer that we probably can bring to the Ghanaian student in the midst of the several £5,000 or even £3,000 to £5,000 per level. We cannot afford that in Ghana. But we are working on this 5,000 to 7,000 Ghana cedis. By the end of the month, a brochure will be ready. Details of each level will be ready. Dates will be ready. And those who have expressed interest, we will be able to send you the brochure with the details and the dates, that at least our first cohort of AI partners, you say we should refer them as partners, isn't it? Our first cohort of AI partners can be able to start. Now, Noah, international students, I think at the moment, when the data has been published in advance, let's say speaking from one who is coming from Gambia, should you not be in Ghana, you probably will have to do a week's trip to Ghana, come and sleep in some of the best hotels, pay a lot of money for the hotels as well, and join to be among the few who are spearheading it in Gambia and other parts of the sub-region. But when we have finished the 3 days in person, all support that you need for the 3 months period will be online. Doc, I guess that is right, isn't it?
Yeah, it is right. It is right. You're also, I know you didn't emphasize that, but we are making sure that we provide the best facilities and the whole event becomes very kind of enjoyable. So that is all going into the costing, isn't it? We can't just do it the way we can't do it the way I did secondary school under a tree.
No. We can't. we are actually consulting with some of the top hotels and some of the top training centers in provision of food, the resources, certification, the best consultants, and everything, because we don't want to give you less than the best, even in terms of the materials and the support and the venues and all the facilities. So that will bring us in most affordable price for Ghana to be somewhere 5,000, but hopefully not exceeding 7,000. We will negotiate hard for the Ghanaian student for each of the levels. Is there any question? I think there is one person whose hand is up We'll take this one so that we'll be wrapping up in the next 5 minutes or so. Stanley, Josh, please, you can ask your question, and I'll go to the chat for follow-on questions.
Thank you very, very much.
Stanley, yes, please.
It's actually not a question, but I believe you can hear me, right?
Clearly, Stanley.
Yes, we can.
It's a good initiative, and then we want to let you know that we are on standby and waiting for any other necessary information that will be required to get us started. So yes, just to let you know that it's a good initiative, and so we're waiting for it.
Thank you very much, Stanley. It's quite humbling to know that at least you believe that we should progress in that direction. Thank you very much. And please, I hope that you share the recordings. Yes, of course, we'll share the recordings. We'll share the recordings. And we even wish that you share it to others who you probably think it will become useful to them, but probably they were not able to join us. So we'll share the recordings. Now, I'll allow a question or two, and then Doc will give us his final remarks. But I am pretty much excited about this journey. I don't know anything about AI. Doc, I think I'll be one of the first people to want to enroll so that I will not lose my job. But to have the privilege of having one of our own to lead us carefully through the AI journey and to put some of us at the forefront of the AI expertise, at least in the next 9 months to 12 months, I think it's quite a good opportunity. Because otherwise, we'll be here and it won't be long. We will have several consultants who will do our work for huge sums of money, and all we'll do is to complain. But this isn't because we didn't have the opportunity, but we downplayed it. And people will go and do their top-ups in fintech. Is it fintech, MSc, and all those things? And they will come and take over from what we have labored so hard in the organization, only to think that we haven't been fairly treated. But no, it's not being fairly treated. It's about bringing value to the company, and you haven't given yourself opportunity to bring value to the company. So the next person will take over your role. Doc, in a moment, you will give us our closing remark. I'll also allow our Executive Director, Dukalote, if he has something to add. And then Eden, if he has something to add, then Doc will give us the closing remark. But Christopher, you are the last person to put across your question suggestion, and then followed by Executive Director Dukalote. And then if you have, and Doc, you close it, you bring us to the close. Christopher. Christopher. Okay. I'm not sure if we can hear you, but then I'll give opportunity to our Executive Director and the person of Pastor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. Please, Duke, can I take Christopher? Then you come in. So Christopher, we can hear you, please.
Okay, thank you. I was late, but I guess it's good timing for me. I have started doing some readings on this AI because I saw this is coming thick and fast. I'm an auditor, and I think this is a good opportunity. What I want to clarify for us is, so far, thank you. Yeah, I have come across these AI tools as Python, R, Power BI, SQL, DAX. Is this the direction that we are going, or is it something different?
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it earlier, but then it's good you have asked.
Yeah.
And then,
that is the direction.
Doc, one question is, one is saying, what level should or can I start with? Because it's seeming like the person has prior knowledge or something, but they want your recommendation. They are not very good at it. They've read about it, but they are asking what level should or can I start with. So please combine the two this thing.
Okay, so yeah, a couple of questions there. Maybe starting with Christopher's. Yeah, those software you mentioned are in the domain. So there are different types of software that are at play. So yes, the answer is yes. I will recommend that you start from somewhere. When I started with R because I am a researcher. I started with R, but in 2015, I think I had the intuition to add Python, and I didn't return to R ever again for good reasons. I would recommend, I mean, if you ask for my recommendation, for you to have a very rounded and useful experience, the best is Python. Python trumps all of them. It does most of the things that the other software would do, it does them very well, and it does things that some of the other software cannot do. So yeah, in simple terms, I'll recommend sticking with Python. But the thing is, once you understand Python very well, Python integrates with all the other software anyway. So it gives you more strings to your bow. There was another question. I picked up other questions which revolve around, can I combine this with my ACCA? Where should I start from and all that? I would say, please. I was going to say, I should be careful what I say here, but I'll say it anyway. I've been involved, like you heard, I've been involved with interactions with professional bodies for a very long time. The issue is that the professional bodies don't know how to integrate this into what they do, because this is a paradigm shift. This is huge. So they are all grappling. And I say this globally. I'm talking about every university. I'm talking about, remember earlier when I said educators are probably at the receiving end of this. So yes. I would say the best form of education you can have will be to begin learning this, because in no time it will hit you wherever you are in the profession. But you see, it's another advantage, because if you know this, then when you sit in the classroom or when you read an ACCA textbook, it would sound like a walk in the park. You'd be like, why are you making this hard for me? Why? Why can't you do this in a better way? I mean, and this is what I do. Like, why? So, I mean, I don't know why any university would not be doing this. And I'm sat in my office at the university, by the way, and I wish my colleagues were here. They'll be saying, he's at it again. This guy is just banging on. This is the best message that we should carry wherever we are, because it can only make us better people at anything that we do. It's only the emotion of fear and laziness and unwillingness to accept that there are things that machines can do better. I mean, and people who are doing it are benefiting. So if I'm a student, I'll learn this. If I'm a lecturer, I'll even learn this. Everybody should learn this. There was a comment that said, if the data is historical, then in the example that I did, yeah. I mean, that was just for explanation. So yes, pastors should learn this. I mean, pastors should learn this, because I was amazed at the impact that this is having on religion and our understanding of scriptures. So, I mean, if you're thinking about, you don't need to learn Hebrew or Latin. You don't need to sit there and learn, because AI can give you the access to the historical meaning of all. So everybody is enjoying this. Even the Beatles, we learned rewriting their song. So what else can we ask for, friends?
So what levels can I start with?
You have to start from level 1. You see, the issue is, if you go online and you try to do this on your own, you can be banned in a very bad way, because this thing is written by people who know it, and they make assumptions that everybody can understand. And in no time, it's like jumping into the sea when you've seen people swimming and thinking, oh, this looks nice, only to realize that you don't know how to swim, and then you begin to sink, right? You don't go swimming if you haven't learned how to play with the water. So I would suggest you to start from 1. If you haven't even an IT degree, I would suggest you join us and start from level 1, because what you will soon realize is that we are integrating technology with business knowledge, theory of finance. Everything that you learn on ACCA or ICA or whatever, chart, anything, right? The theory will not be watered down, right? We will make sure that we embed the theory and the doing together, which gives you a more rounded understanding. So come to level 1 and learn the basics with us, so that you can build on that solid foundation. If you join us at level 2, you might struggle, because the way we do things might be different from what you're used to, and it would take you 3 days, will not be a good time for you to unlearn everything that you have learned to begin to relearn. So it will be good if you began the journey with us. Having said that, you could try to wait and join us at level 2, but it might not be a positive experience.
I agree with you. I think so. You are better off to join from level 1, build a solid foundation, and then proceed to level 2 and 3. Before Duke comes in, please, when you go to the chat box, we have the link for you to register your interest. And like I promised you, by the end of the month, the brochure will be ready, dates will be announced, and the fee that has been arrived at with modesty, so that we can get a lot of you to build your AI capacity. All of it will be in the brochure. So when you go to the chat, you will see register your interest for the AI course to receive updates with the link below. And we have the link below for you to register. And also, when we are about finishing, you go to the top, you see we have proofs, and we have some few questions that we would love that you answer for us, so that we can even bring you more of such industry relevant webinars. So you click on the pool, it's only 4 questions. Please help us so we can serve you better. And I think the pool, how did you hear about this webinar, and so on and so forth. Please, Duke, you take the floor, and then Doc will close the session with his
Thank
closing
you very,
remarks.
very much. Thank you very, very much, Reverend William and Dr. Efriye. I'm so excited. I mean, I've been sitting quietly looking at this, and my thing is, how do I get myself relevant in the next 5 years? Make sure I'm still in business of teaching, if all these things are coming in and coming in quickly. But I think the overriding thing that sits on our head now is it affordable, or is it something that I want to think about? One thing that I want you to understand is this is a lifetime investment, and assuming it even works out to say 20,000 for all the 3 levels, we could be less of this. 20,000 for such a lifetime investment that has the potential to give you multiples of income is still worth investing in. Now, for those of us pursuing the path of ACCA, you can understand how much you are pumped into it and still pegging around and still struggling to pass here and there. I can assure you, we've looked into the prices in the UK, ranging between 3,000, 5,000 pounds per level. And of course, these are, in our context, very ridiculous prices that we can bring here. Now, we have done this for you. An example is we sell ACCA books at next to nothing. I mean, about within the region of about £10, sort of, for books that are retailing on the market for nearly £50 or something. So that is the same spirit with which we want to do this for you. Just to bring it down to us, make it accessible to all of us. I want to do it myself. I don't know about you, but then let's see it as a lifetime investment, something that will give us an edge over others and make us relevant in the future. Thank you all very much, and we look forward to your interest and involvement in this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Duke. It's a lifetime investment. I'm very happy about that. I see some of the money that I have to pay, even for online, because I love to do the AI. I see the money I have to pay in dollars and then sometimes in pounds. And like I say, no, forget it. And to have it close to me and to have somebody who will guide me through from the very basics and for 5,000 to 7,000. I'm quite happy about that. I hope that we'll finish about that pricing for the Ghanaian student. So, Doc, it's been interesting having you. I want you to share your closing thoughts with us, and then we'll bring the session to a close.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a privilege and an honor to have this conversation. To finish off, I can only say that I look forward to. No, maybe let me say it this way. I can't wait to get it started. The joy and the fun that comes with this is truly infectious, and as they say, once we begin, we will end it together. It's just occurring to me that I mean, on my MSc FinTech, I have a few Ghanaians. Just about 5 Ghanaians on the course, but I have more than 100 Nigerians. I mean, I know you would say, proportionately, I should expect more Nigerians than Ghanaians, but there are parts in the world where people are really, really stretching for this knowledge. So it will be a good opportunity if this is coming home. And I'm saying that proudly, that we can hit the ground running, because otherwise in the West African sub-region, maybe other people will be ahead of us in the game. And like you said, William, they may be the people who will be becoming competitors in our professional spheres in the years to come. So looking forward to seeing as many of you as would sign up in Ghana very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And my closing remark is that of that which you said, when I have mastered this AI, and when I master this one, when I pursue it relentlessly to become an expert, I could be on my way to becoming an expert, to becoming a consultant and even a knowledge worker. It will give me opportunity which probably have not been opened up to me yet, even though I may be a professional. You said this skills and talents are in short supply when it comes to AI. When you train in AI, you will be among the most sought after professional. And so be one of the few to have a first mover advantage. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure coming to you with our webinar on artificial intelligence. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Pastor Duke. Thank you to the Duke William team, but more especially to every one of us who have made time to make this journey so far a success. And on that note, I want to encourage you to do the poll whilst we bring the session to a close. Thank you. God bless.